Imagine for a moment just tossing a small piece of molded plastic onto a wooden table.
Right.
It is a totally simple, completely physical action. The object tumbles, it colliders against the surface, taking, less than 2 seconds to settle.
Barely any time at all.
Exactly. But in those 2 seconds, depending on which geometric face lands pointing toward the ceiling, the entire fabric of your social reality could be rewritten.
Oh, absolutely.
Friendships might dissolve into just bitter resentment. A romantic connection might be severed before it even begins. An apartment might literally catch fire.
Blood could literally be spilled.
Yes. Or, on the flip side, a tyrannical hierarchy could instantly evaporate, leaving this vacuum where everyone suddenly, inexplicably, just starts dancing.
It is the ultimate terrifying proposition. I mean, the idea that our most profound life trajectories are entirely at the mercy of microscopic, seemingly irrelevant variables.
It's wild to think about.
It really is.
And
But the difference between harmony and total collapse isn't some grand ideological battle, but simply who happens to walk out of a room to get the pizza.
It's exactly. Welcome to Off the Record. We are stepping into the labyrinth today. This deep dive is an exhaustive structural dissection of what many consider one of the most conceptually ambitious half-hours in the history of television.
Unquestionably.
We are unpacking Remedial Chaos Theory, and I'm so excited to do this with you.
As am I. For those taking notes, this is Season 3, Episode 4 of the 2011 sitcom Community. It was written by Chris McKenna and directed by Jeff Melman.
Right.
Our source material today provides an incredibly rigorous breakdown of narrative branching, structural ambition, and the illusion of causal determinism within this specific text.
It's dense stuff.
It is. It is a brilliant study in what we call localized multiverse construction.
And the mechanics of this episode are just so beautifully layered that before we even attempt to deconstruct it, we need to acknowledge the environment we are recording in today.
Oh, we absolutely must.
Because our director, Ryan Thomas, has engineered an entire sensory experience to accompany this deep dive for you, the listener. Ryan curated the central PDF source document, which is meticulously annotated, and prior to sitting down at the mics, he provided us with a truly astonishing pre-show meal.
I have to say, the reduction on that duck breast we had was a culinary triumph.
So good.
Genuinely perfectly balanced. And furthermore, Ryan has procured a highly specific flight of craft cocktails for us to consume over the course of this analysis.
He really went all out.
He did. The note he left on the tray states they are intended to, quote, complement the theme of chaos. And from a purely visual perspective, the presentation is immaculate.
They look incredible.
I did take a highly preemptive diagnostic sip while we were calibrating the microphones, and the flavor profile is, well, it's quite literally orgasmic in quality.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there is a botanical complexity here that I cannot immediately identify, but it is exceptional.
It looks gorgeous. I'm almost afraid to drink it and ruin the aesthetic.
You have to try it.
Oh, wait, I see Ryan flashing the light from the booth. He is tapping his throat.
Ah, right. The vocal exercise.
Yeah, we have to clear the articulators before we dive into the multiverse. Ready?
Ready.
Liam Neeson's niece, Lisa Neeson, recently leased a really nice Nissan.
Liam Neeson's niece, Lisa Neeson, recently leased a really nice Nissan.
Crisp. Perfect.
It is a highly effective phonological warm-up. It demands precise labial and dental coordination.
It really does.
Now, let us establish the parameters of this thought experiment. The premise of Remedial Chaos Theory is beautifully contained.
Right, it's not some massive epic.
Exactly. The narrative does not span years or continents. It is a micro-event. We are placed inside a housewarming party for the characters Troy and Abed, who have just moved into a new apartment.
Just a normal evening.
And the core ensemble, a study group of 7 highly codependent adults, is present. Suddenly, the intercom buzzer rings.
And it is a pizza delivery.
Yes.
But the delivery driver refuses to come upstairs to their specific unit. This introduces a completely mundane logistical hurdle.
Someone has to go down.
Right, someone has to physically leave the apartment, go downstairs, pay the driver, and retrieve the pizza.
Which brings us to the inciting incident. Jeff Winger, who operates as the de facto patriarchal leader and cynical manipulator of the group, produces a standard 6-sided die.
A regular game die.
Right. He proposes a system, he will roll the die, and whatever number comes up, corresponding to the seating arrangement moving clockwise around the table, that specific individual will have to go downstairs.
It seems fair. It seems totally objective.
But that single, supposedly randomized decision operates as a narrative prism. The episode fractures. It creates 7 parallel timelines.
7 of them.
We see 6 alternate realities corresponding to each number on the die, meaning 6 different variations of a character leaving the room, and 1 prime timeline where the die roll is intercepted before it can dictate the outcome.
And what is so striking about this approach, and what our source document emphasizes immediately, is how it completely subverts the standard sci-fi multiverse trope.
Precisely. Because when we analyze the concept of a multiverse in contemporary media, think of the sprawling continuity of Marvel films, or the mirror universes in Star Trek, or even high-level string theory in theoretical physics, we are usually dealing with cosmic, universe-shattering stakes.
Alternate dimensions where historical empires never fell.
Right. Or where the laws of thermodynamics operate inversely. It is macro divergence.
But Community does not do that at all.
Yeah.
It gives us a localized multiverse.
Yes.
The divergence is entirely restricted to a single door opening and closing. A character is removed from a room for, maximum of 5 minutes?
Exactly. And the source argues that this localization is the key to its structural brilliance. By drastically limiting the scope of the divergence, the narrative becomes structurally legible to the viewer.
That makes total sense.
We aren't being asked to track the geopolitical implications of an alternate reality. We are being asked to track the micro-expressions and shifting interpersonal dynamics of an apartment where Shirley is suddenly no longer standing in the kitchen.
Right. Because the constraint allows for exponential narrative divergence without overwhelming the audience's cognitive load. The butterfly effect is entirely contained within 4 walls.
It is the absolute isolation of variables. You are running a controlled sociological experiment.
Let's unpack this with an analogy, because I was trying to visualize the mechanics of this when I was reading Ryan's notes earlier.
Please do.
It is fundamentally like playing a highly emotional, deeply interpersonal game of Jenga.
Jenga, okay.
In a standard game of Jenga, you pull out a wooden block specifically to see if the physical integrity of the tower holds or if gravity wins.
Right, physics.
But in this scenario, you aren't pulling a block of wood. You are pulling a human being out of an ecosystem for 5 minutes, just to see how the remaining human tower sways, leans, or entirely collapses.
That is fascinating.
And the friction holding these blocks together isn't physics. The friction is their neuroses, their unspoken attachments, their simmering resentments.
That is an exquisitely accurate analogy. The friction is the unresolved psychological baggage. You are stress testing the structural integrity of this specific group dynamic.
Exactly.
Every single time a character leaves the room to get the pizza, the remaining pieces instantly shift to fill the newly created void. And because the configuration is different, they rub against each other in completely novel, unpredictable ways.
Speaking of unpredictable things, I'm going to take my first proper sip of this cocktail Ryan curated for us.
Let us sample it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow.
Okay, that is a serious beverage.
It is intensely robust, astonishingly so. But the craftsmanship is undeniable. It is incredibly smooth on the palate.
Really smooth.
There is virtually no ethanol burn, which is frankly slightly dangerous considering the viscosity suggests at least 3 different high-proof spirits are interacting here.
It sneaks up on you.
Ryan, you are a culinary madman. This is a masterfully dangerous concoction.
It really is. It just goes down like velvet. But back to the social Jenga tower. If Jeff's die roll is the physical catalyst, the finger pushing the block out of the tower, we have to look at the psychological engine that is actually driving the audience's understanding of this thought experiment.
The engine.
And that engine is the character of Abed Nadir.
Yes. A crucial transition because Abed is not merely a participant in the scene. He operates as a meta-narrator.
Right.
He explicitly warns the group, and by extension the audience, of the structural implications of the die roll. He says, just so you know, Jeff, you are now creating 6 different timelines. He establishes the narrative framework.
And the source provides a fantastic analysis of Jeff's die roll as a philosophical device. It is an externalization of decision-making.
Yes.
Jeff uses the die to completely avoid taking responsibility. He doesn't want to choose someone to get the pizza because that requires exercising authority, which can be criticized.
I mean, he certainly doesn't want to volunteer himself.
Exactly. It's so transparent.
It is a manifestation of existential bad faith. Jeff wants the outcome of the decision without the culpability of making it. But the source points out something far more fascinating about Abed's role.
What's that?
Abed isn't just indulging in a hyperactive, pop culture-infused fantasy. He is actively engaging in highly sophisticated predictive modeling of human behavior.
Oh, so?
Well, Abed is an intuitive systems thinker. He understands the group's equilibrium, the delicate, invisible web of tensions connecting everyone at the table so deeply that his brain instantly, involuntarily simulates exactly what would happen if you removed a specific node from that network.
He's running simulations.
Exactly. He runs the algorithms in real time. But here's the critical insight of the entire episode, the thesis of the source material. The die roll is a complete illusion. The outcomes of these timelines are not random.
Wait, really? They aren't random.
No. The chaos is a facade. The outcomes are deterministic reflections of pre-existing tensions within the group.
Determines.
The die itself does not create chaos. It merely reveals the latent chaos that is already sitting at the table.
Oh, wow. That makes so much sense.
Think about it. The feelings Britta has for Troy, the unspoken sexual tension between Jeff and Annie, Shirley's deep-seated anxiety about her baking being rejected, none of those are created by the die.
But they're already there.
The die merely acts as a spotlight, illuminating these deterministic paths. Under the right specific conditions, meaning the absence of the one person who usually diffuses that specific tension, the outcome is inevitable.
The collisions were always going to happen.
Exactly.
Hearing you lay it out like that, I don't know, it just made me really sad all of a sudden.
Sad? Why would the concept of narrative determinism make you sad? It is an elegant structural mechanism.
I know it's structurally elegant. It's just, I'm looking at my notes, I'm thinking about the real world implications of determinism and this whole idea of, removing agency.
Removing agency, yes.
It's just a little melancholy, isn't it? The idea that we don't really have free will, that our reactions are just pre-programmed responses triggered by whoever happens to be in the room with us.
Well, statistically speaking,
Like, no matter what we do, the latent tensions are just waiting to spring the trap. We're just meat machines reacting to stimuli.
from a strictly sociological standpoint, human behavior is highly predictable within closed systems.
But honestly, can I just be honest for a second?
Go ahead.
Sometimes I think it would be incredibly comforting to just let a die dictate my personal life.
Comforting. To surrender your autonomy to a piece of plastic.
Yes. Imagine how unbelievably easy that would be. Think about the cognitive load we carry every single day.
It is substantial.
Should I text him back? Let's roll a 4, get some texting. Should I quit my job and move to Chicago? Roll a 2, guess I'm packing.
You can't live like that.
Because if you do that, then you never have to face your own failures. If I completely ruin a relationship, it is not my fault. It is the die's fault. The die made me text my ex at 2 a.m.
The die didn't make you do that.
The die made me eat an entire sleeve of Oreos instead of going to the gym. It takes the weight off. Having agency is exhausting. I am so deeply tired of having agency.
Okay, the alcohol is definitely hitting my bloodstream more rapidly than I anticipated because I am suddenly, inexplicably, incredibly annoyed at Ryan Thomas for assigning us such an existentially heavy topic.
What? Why? I think Ryan just likes the show Community.
No, look at him in the booth. Look at that posture. He's smug.
He does look a little smug.
He thinks he is the one rolling the dice for us right now, doesn't he? Let's give them incredibly potent velvet-textured liquor and make them discuss the bleak illusion of free will.
He is testing us.
He is playing God with our analytical faculties. It is infuriating. But listen to me. Hey, look at me across the table.
I'm looking.
You are far too brilliant to let a die run your life. Do you hear me? Your agency is the engine of your intellect.
You really think so?
It is what makes your analysis on the show so consistently sharp. You do not need a piece of plastic with jots on it to validate your choices. Yes, your failures belong to you and they can be heavy, but your incredible shining victories belong to you as well. Do not surrender that to the void.
Wow. That is really, really nice of you to say. I am actually blushing a little bit, thank you.
I mean every single word. You are a star.
Oh my God, speaking of stars, I almost completely forgot my contractual obligations.
Oh, right, the plug.
Listener.
Oh.
Before we get into the specific timelines and stress test this group dynamic, you need to go to our official YouTube channel. It is called HamOTR.
HamOTR, yeah.
It is the premier home of Off the Record. Like and subscribe. Seriously, hit the bell icon, do the algorithmic dance, like and subscribe to HamOTR. We need your engagement to appease the data gods.
That was delivered at an astonishingly high volume, but the core message is entirely accurate. Yes, please, locate HamOTR and subscribe.
Sorry. The velvet cocktail is making me loud. It is lowering my volume regulation. But wait, I have to point something else out before we move on. And I think this is vital. I am suddenly, intensely, deeply invested in the fact that the catalyst for this entire episode was a pizza delivery.
The pizza. You want to analyze the culinary catalyst for the door opening. Yes, it is a recognizable trope of domestic gathering.
No. You aren't seeing the layers here. Think about the geometry.
The geometry of pizza.
Pizza is the ultimate communal food, right? But physically, what is it? It is literally a circle divided into slices, just like the timelines. The timelines are slices of the narrative circle. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
Every single person who leaves that apartment to go downstairs is a slice taken out of the pie. And it fundamentally changes the shape of the evening. The pizza is the structural map of the episode.
That is the most incredibly literal, spectacularly mediocre observation I have ever heard in my academic career, and it is absolutely destroying me right now. A slice of the narrative circle.
Stop it. It makes sense. It makes perfect geometric sense.
Oh my God, Ryan, are you recording this? Write that down. Submit that to the peer-reviewed television journals immediately. The pepperoni pizza is a grand metaphor for the space-time continuum. If you take out the mushroom slice, the universe collapses.
Shut up. It is a good metaphor. The crust is the prime timeline.
It is. It does make sense in the most brilliantly stupid way. Okay, let me catch my breath. Since we are cutting the narrative pie, as you so elegantly put it, let's analyze the individual slices.
Yes, let's cut the pie.
Let's look at what actually happens when specific characters are removed from the ecosystem to retrieve this mathematically profound pizza. Let's examine the minor collapses.
The minor collapses. Okay, let's stress test the social equilibrium.
According to the source, the fundamental thesis here is that the study group is highly unstable. Removing one person doesn't just mean a person is missing. It operates as an aggressive mutation of the behavioral algorithms for everyone else left in the room.
They change completely.
They overcompensate. For example, let's look at Annie's timeline. What happens when the die dictates that Annie goes to get the pizza?
Okay, so looking at the character profiles, Annie is the youngest of the group, but she is the hyperneurotic type A organizer. So the source explains that without Annie present, disorganization and miscommunication instantly skyrocket.
Instantaneously.
The group completely fails to function on a basic logistical and empathetic level. People get physically hurt because nobody is monitoring the environment.
Exactly. She is the logistical scaffolding. And then you contrast that with Shirley. Shirley operates as the maternal, highly religious, often guilt-inducing figure of the group. Without her in the room, the source notes that the group's moral grounding immediately diminishes.
Right, because without the threat of her passive-aggressive judgment, they lose their externalized shame.
Precisely. They immediately start behaving more selfishly. They give in to their baser instincts, their petty desires, because the judgmental moral anchor has been lifted from the ecosystem.
That makes total sense.
And then we have Pierce. Pierce is the elderly, wealthy, deeply offensive, and highly combative member of the group. Wait, let me locate the exact phrasing in the note.
I think it's on page 4 of the PDF.
Let me read this properly for the listeners. In the timeline where Pierce Hawthorne is removed, we clearly observe that he is the fundamental glue of the group. And his absence... Wait, no, that is not what the text says at all.
You sounded like a wizard just then.
Ugh.
A very serious wizard reading a scroll.
I was attempting a professional reset. The velvet cocktail is actively betraying my cognitive processing. Wait, I completely contradicted the source material. Let me reread this sentence. Oh, wow. It says, when Pierce is gone, the toxicity either dramatically reduces or becomes completely uncontained elsewhere.
He's not the glue, he's the poison.
He's the poison. I called him the fundamental glue. Why on earth did I call the most toxic character the glue?
Because you're so drunk right now that you think the vindictive, racist old man is holding the fabric of reality together. You think hate is the binding agent of the universe.
I am so sorry. I am genuinely so sorry to our listeners. The notes clearly state that his absence just shifts the toxicity. It's like the conservation of mass, but for being a terrible person.
The conservation of toxicity.
Yes. If Pierce isn't there to absorb and project the toxicity, someone else in the room absorbs it and mutates. That is a phenomenal psychological concept. Oh my God, my sides physically hurt from laughing.
Oh, wow. Okay. Phew. But, going back to Annie for a second, the disorganization timeline.
Yes. What about Annie?
I relate to that timeline so much. It's making me really sad again.
Why are you sad about Annie's timeline? We just established she is the logistical scaffolding.
Because in my personal life, I am the timeline without Annie. Like constantly. Without an Annie in my life to regulate my environment, I don't know where my keys are, ever.
Hey, you lose your keys.
I bought a leather-bound planner in January. I spent $40 on it. It is now May. I haven't written a single solitary thing in it. It is just sitting on the corner of my desk, radiating judgment.
It's just paper. It can't judge you.
I need an Annie to organize my existence, or I just drift endlessly into the void. Without an Annie, my personal Jenga tower isn't even a tower. It's just a pile of wicker sticks scattered on the floor of my apartment.
Damn it, Ryan. Look what you have done to my co-hosts. You have made them realize they do not have their administrative life together. I curse you, Ryan Thomas. I violently and specifically curse your name.
It's not Ryan's fault I lose my keys. I lost my keys 3 times last week before I even knew what this cocktail was.
It is entirely Ryan's fault. He gave us these demonic, velvet-textured drinks that strip away our emotional defenses. I am pouring another glass right now. Look at the viscosity of this liquid. It is beautiful. I am pouring a massive glass. Do you want to top off?
Yeah, top me off. Just right to the brim. Let surface tension do the work.
Done. And you listen to me. You do not need an Annie.
I really do.
No, you do not. You have a beautiful, vibrant, chaotic energy. Your lack of organization is just, it is a testament to your uncontained free spirit. I find it incredibly charming. If I found your keys, I wouldn't even give them back to you. I would hide them just so we could spend an extra 20 minutes looking for them together. Because time spent with you is never wasted time.
Sup it. You're going to make me cry again.
Mm-hmm.
That is the sweetest, most enabling thing anyone has ever said about my chronic administrative failures.
I mean, every syllable.
Wait, what was I saying? What were we talking about? Jenga.
Oh,
wooden pillars.
sure.
What happens when the big pillars fall down? We talked about the minor collapses, the shifting toxicity. But the source document has an entire, highly detailed section on the massive vacuums, the structurally critical removals.
Ah, yes, the authority vacuum. Let's talk about what happens when Jeff Winger leaves the room, because analytically speaking, this is mind-blowing.
So Jeff is the cool guy. He is the cynic. He is the one who introduced the die to maintain control over the situation. When the die lands on his number, he actually has to go get the pizza. And removing him creates an immediate massive authority vacuum.
Exactly. He is the patriarchal dampener. And the notes say this vacuum leads to initial chaotic escalation, but ultimately it results in unexpected harmony.
Right, because Jeff's entire function in the group is to constantly manage everybody's insecurities while maintaining his own cynical superiority.
Yeah.
He regulates the emotional temperature by keeping it cool and detached.
Yes. And without him there to enforce that detachment, the group dynamic radically shifts. They actually connect, they let their guard down, they let themselves be vulnerable and silly. Britta puts on a song, Roxanne, by the Police, playing on an old iPod, and instead of mocking her, which is what Jeff would have initiated, they embrace it. They literally just dance.
And then there's Troy. Oh, God. Troy's timeline.
Troy is the innocent heart of the group. He is the emotional stabilizer for Abed, and when Troy is forced to leave the room, Abed's entire framework completely destabilizes.
The darkest timeline.
Yes, the darkest timeline. It has become a massive cultural artifact, a meme. But within the context of the show, it is the purest narrative exaggeration of loss of balance theory. When Troy is removed, the system doesn't just adapt, it aggressively mutates. It becomes a hostile, self-reinforcing nightmare.
It all goes wrong instantly.
We get unchecked violence, Annie's gun goes off, the apartment literally catches on fire, Pierce gets shot in the leg and disfigured, Shirley's pies burn. The moral and physical decay is absolute, and it all happens in the span of a few minutes simply because the one stabilizing agent went downstairs to retrieve a pizza.
It's too real. It's too damn real.
Are you crying? Are you actually shedding tears over the structural mechanics of the darkest timeline?
Yes, because I know exactly what it feels like. I had a roommate, okay? His name was Greg, and Greg was my Troy.
You're Troy.
We lived together in this incredibly shitty, drafty little apartment back in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg was the glue, not Pierce. Greg. He was the emotional and infrastructural stabilizer of the unit.
What did Greg do?
He always knew when to put on the kettle. He never complained when I left my shoes in the middle of the hallway.
Yeah.
He understood the exact ratio of coffee grounds to water to prevent the morning from feeling bitter. He brought this incredible centering energy, and then he fell in love, and he moved out to Austin.
Oh no, not Austin. Anything but the tech bro wilderness of Austin.
Yes, Austin. He bought a golden retriever. He put a little bandana on it, and he left me. And my whole life immediately became the darkest timeline. I didn't know how to restart the router when the IP addresses conflicted because he was the one who understood the blinking green lights.
That's devastating.
I didn't have internet for a week. The houseplants died. The apartment became a hostile, arid environment. I have been living in my own darkest timeline ever since Greg packed his Subaru.
That is completely unacceptable. Greg is an absolute monster. How dare he abandon you to deal with conflicting IP addresses? I am fiercely, intensely protective of you right now. You listen to me. Look across this table. You are my Troy. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes. If you left this show, I would instantly destabilize. I would lose my analytical framework. I would literally burn this recording studio down to the concrete foundation. I would set the acoustic soundproofing foam on fire with his Zippo.
You would commit arson for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Thomas is the harbinger of the darkest timeline. He sits up there in his little booth, rolling the dice, plying us with velvet liquor, just waiting for one of us to crack under the existential pressure. But I won't let him do it. I won't let him take my Troy.
I will never move to Austin, I promise. I hate humidity.
Good. Good. Stick to temperate climates.
But wait, let's pull back. Let's try to think about the other side of this structural coin. Let's look at Jeff's timeline again. The unexpected harmony.
Right. The one where they just dance to the police. Do you understand how genuinely profound that is? Strip away the sitcom trappings. It is the most mind-shattering psychological revelation in human history. Look at the text. I am pointing at the PDF right now. Without Jeff, authority vacuum leads to chaotic escalation, but also unexpected harmony. Think about extrapolating that into a corporate structure. Think about that in a governmental paradigm.
Oh my God.
If you remove the boss, if you take out the alpha, the guy who thinks he has to be in charge, the guy who insists on rolling the die because he thinks the system requires his arbitration, if you remove him, everyone just dances. Do you hear me, listener? They just dance.
They just dance. To Roxanne.
It is pure anarcho-syndicalist utopianism disguised as a 22-minute network sitcom. It is beautiful. Tear down the artificial hierarchy, remove the cynical overlord, and the natural, uncorrupted human state is to simply groove with your peers.
It's so deep. It's like we are all just these tense little Jenga blocks, right? We're all just holding our breath, waiting for the boss block to get pulled out of the tower so we can finally just lie down on the table and be comfortable. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. That is exactly what it is. But wait, hold on. How do we connect this? How do we connect the emotional devastation of your tragedy with Greg and the utopian dancing? How do we connect that back to the structural mechanics of television comedy writing? I know the notes have a section on that. Let me find it. Section 6. Comedy through something.
I see it. It is comedy through structural repetition and divergence.
Yes, that. Elaborate on that for me, Troy.
The source says that the humor of the episode doesn't rely on traditional setup punchline structures. It relies on comparative repetition. Because the audience sees the same 5 minutes play out 7 different times, we are essentially trained by the script to notice variation. Like who physically answers the door, what specific jokes land in one timeline but fail in another. It's like, wait, what was I saying?
You were talking about the divergence of the structure, training the audience.
Right. The divergence. The fact that incredibly small, microscopic changes alter the entire reality of the room. Which brings us to the big philosophy word in the nose. Relational
identity theory.
Let me try it. Relational identity theory. Relational theory? Nope. Relational identity theory. Damn it. 3 times. I have tried 3 times. I cannot say it. My tongue is completely numb.
Yeah.
This cocktail is pure evil.
You are doing incredible work. Take your time.
Liam Neeson's niece? Liam Neeson recently leased a fucking Nissan HA. Nailed it. Unprompted. I didn't even need the throat tap. Take that, Ryan.
Beautifully butchered. A true masterpiece of vocal destruction. But relational identity theory, let me tell you about relational identity theory because, my God, this is the sexiest, most deeply romantic sociological concept I have ever read in an academic PDF.
Romantic. Tell me.
The theory posits that individuals are not discrete, static entities. We're defined entirely by our specific position within a network. The system is deterministic in its design, but chaotic in its expression. Do you know what that actually means on a human level? It means I am only me because you are sitting across from me right now.
Yep.
Yes, we do not exist in a vacuum. My analytical humor, my anger, my deep, abiding, fiery hatred for the director of this show, none of it exists independently. It only exists in relation to your specific energy. If you were a different host, if you were a different variable, I would be fundamentally a different person. You define my edges. You complete my network matrix. Screw you, Ryan. You can't isolate us. We are a relational matrix of deep dive perfection.
That is so fucking romantic. I love our network position.
I love our network position too. You are the absolute best Jenga block in the tower. If you were pulled out, I would completely collapse.
You're the best Jenga block too. We are a structurally sound tower. Wait, did we even talk about sitcom repetition?
Who cares about sitcom repetition? We have moved past television. We are uncovering the fundamental, unvarnished truths of human connectivity. We are actively breaking down the illusion of the independent self. The self is a lie peddled by capitalists. There is only the group, there is only the timeline.
I completely forgot the point I was making 3 minutes ago. Was I talking about a circle of pizza?
The pizza space-time continuum? He's brilliant. The pepperoni represents the inevitability of conflict.
It was brilliant, thank you. Oh shit, wait, I have to plug the thing again. Listener, if you want to see two relational identities vibrate on a higher, utterly chaotic frequency, you have to go to Ham OTR. Like and subscribe. Do it right now. Pause the audio and like and subscribe, or Ryan will keep making us drink this delicious, velvet-textured evil poison. He is laughing at us in the booth. I can see his stupid, smug, perfectly white teeth. Subscribe so we can escape his twisted sociological experiments.
Save us, listener. Your subscription is the only tether keeping us anchored to the prime timeline.
Okay, breathe. We need to breathe. We are professionals. We are award-winning. We have a structure. We have to do the outro. We have to talk about the legacy of the episode.
The legacy. Right. Let me try to synthesize this chaos. Remedial Chaos Theory is the defining achievement of serialized sitcom experimentation in the 2010s. The source argues that it proves that network television can sustain incredibly high-concept, nonlinear sci-fi structures while remaining entirely character-driven. It's a rigorous analytical framework disguised as a 22-minute comedy. It visually demonstrates how meaning and identity emerge purely from relational structure. I'm so tired. The determinism is crushing my spirit, and the duck reduction is making me incredibly sleepy. Listen to me, listener. You get it. You understand what we're saying. You read the PDF, or you didn't read it. It doesn't even matter. You are smart. You understand systems theory. I love you. I love you so much.
He's right. We love you. We are bound to you through this auditory network. But before we sign off, I want to leave you with a final thought. Something for you to mull over in the dark tonight. Something to keep you awake. Look at your own friend group. Look at your family. Look at the people sitting around your own table. If Ryan Thomas, the cosmic harbinger of chaos, handed you a six-sided die right now, and you rolled it, and the universe arbitrarily pulled one person out of the room, who is the one person whose absence would set your world on fire, who is the structural glue keeping your tower upright, and who is the latent poison waiting to spread, and more importantly, the most terrifying question of all, if you were the one to walk out that door, what happens to the tower behind you? Are you the stabilizer or are you the chaos?
That was beautiful.
Thank you. This has been a deep dive on Off the Record, a warm, messy, deeply explicit, entirely chaotic exploration of human dependence and structural television.
Fuck Ryan Thomas.
Yeah. Fuck Ryan. We are emotionally and intellectually exhausted. We are going to finish whatever's left in these glasses, and then I'm going to help my co-host find their keys, even though they don't have an Annie.
We're going to look for keys.
We're going to look for keys. Good night, listener. Take care of each other. And please stay out of the darkest timeline.